Good evening and welcome. This is Primetime News on MITV. I am Tomisi Adibukola. And looking at our top stories tonight, former President Olusegun Obasanjo dismisses anointed presidential candidate. And also NEC meets tonight over face-off with federal government. Flood kills over 1,000 people in Pakistan. And Tottenham record third win in English Premier League with victory over Nottingham. The news in detail. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has disclosed his romance with some presidential candidates and political parties is not an indication he has a preferred candidate for the 2023 general elections, but that he rather has a national agenda. He said as an elder statesman, he has no anointed presidential candidate or a preferred party, but an agenda for the country. He made this known in Minna, Niger State, after having separate closed-door meetings with former military presidents General Ibrahim Babangida and General Abdulsalami Abubakar at the Uphill residence Minna on Sunday. He had different fora had consultations with Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, the All Progressive Congress presidential candidate Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and other prominent Nigerians from different political parties. Obasanjo arrived in Black Jeep at exactly 12:30 p.m. on Sunday and drove straight first to General Abdulsalami's residence, where he had a closed-door meeting, and later to General Ibrahim Babangida's. The National Executive Council (NEC) of the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU will tonight convene for a crucial meeting where the decision will be taken on whether the union will continue its over 6-month strike or not. The NEC meeting promises to be a decisive one and may determine whether the government would suspend the union, as is being rumored in some quarters. Various ASU branches have held their congresses during the week, and the majority voted for another rollover of an indefinite strike. ASU commenced the nationwide industrial action on the 14th of February and has continued to extend it as there has been no substantial agreement with the government, and announced another extension of the strike by another 4 weeks. The renegotiation of the 2009 and the replacement of IBPRS with UTAS are the major demands of the striking lecturers. Meanwhile, human rights lawyer Femi Falana has called on the federal government to sign the renegotiated agreement with the striking members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. In a statement on Sunday, the senior advocate of Nigeria urged both ASU leadership and the current administration to resume negotiations in order to end the prolonged strike for the overall good of Nigerian students. While calling on both sides to resume the negotiations in the interest of the country, the federal government should be prevailed upon, he said, to end the prolonged industrial action. He accused the federal government of resorting to blackmailing ASU, recalling how talks with the union ended in deadlock, a situation that dashed the hopes of many students. The rights lawyer is of the view that the federal government should commit itself to the faithful implementation of the collective agreement reached with ASU, which are enforceable by virtue of the relevant provisions of the Trade Dispute Act, instead of embracing the fascist position of prescribing unions. Away from ASU matters now, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project SERAP has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to direct the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami to provide the organization with a copy of the agreement the federal government recently signed with the United States for the repatriation of $23 million stolen by late General Sani Abacha. The United States government had last week signed an agreement with the federal government to repatriate $23 million Abacha loot to the country. In the letter signed by SERAP Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, the organization said by combining the reading of the combined reading of the Nigeria Constitution 1999 as amended and the Freedom of Information Act and the country's international obligations, there are transparency obligations imposed on the federal government to widely publish the agreement on the $23 million Abacha loot. Serap said providing them with a copy of the agreement with the U.S. and publishing the agreement would allow Nigerians to scrutinize it and monitor the spending of the repatriated $23 million Abacha loot to ensure the money is not mismanaged, diverted, or stolen. The House of Representatives Committee on Finance has discovered $3 million contradiction in the figure released by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, as power generator by Azura Power Generation Company. The chairman of the committee, James Faleke, investigating alleged breaches of the agreement in the power sector and the perennial power failure in Nigeria, discharged TCN for their inability to detail the committee with satisfactory responses. It will be recalled the probe was informed by the proposed sale of Nigeria Integrated Power Project (NIPP) by the Bureau of Public Procurement (BPP). House of Representatives correspondent Linda Ike reports that Azura Power Generation Company signed a £33 million take-or-pay contract with Embed for the power generation of 450 megawatts to the national grid, but records by the TCN shows a far cry from that figure.
Not only Azura, by directing companies. That's why you are here before us. Embed was here on Friday, and they will still be here tomorrow or two. So it's not closed. I'm only asking you from your own function as an evacuator of power, what power you have been evacuating from a 450 power generation company. We have not gone into other power generation companies. We've not gone to transport, we've not gone to, like what you said, what all the rest. Just one. And you know why we are concerned, sir? We are concerned that Nigerians are willing to be to set up industries. They are willing to set up industries. I'm sure you have children who are graduates without job. I'm sure you have, or you have put them in TCS. So they are willing to set up industry, but there's no power. And there's no power, but yet we are paying huge sum of money. This is just the issue, nothing more. Not witch hunting, nothing.
The market operator is the man that administers the fund that is being generated in the whole power sector. So he decides what goes to TCN, he decides what goes to all the generating companies. So they are more or less independent. That is why that is what that independence denies. So that is where they derive their name from. So
what we have given to you here are the figures TCN has evacuated right from the inception in December 2017. That's when they commenced the operation.
So in other words, you cannot tell me this one 1,755,900. You cannot tell me how many megawatts. You don't know.
I know, Chairman, 1,755.9 megawatts. That is what it is.
But there is an average consumption demand of the people who use Azura's services. What is that average consumption demand?
The National Human Rights Commission has said that Nigerians should be intentional in attaining overall peace and development as a way towards promoting the effective implementation of citizens' human rights and media freedom in Nigeria. The representative of the Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, Jenny Toye, stated this while speaking at the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project SERAP Fest's semi-annual Civic Space Monitor and a 14-point program titled Shrinking Civic Space, Growing Assault on Freedom of Expression and Media Freedom in Nigeria. This event took place in Lagos. Jenny also stated that the right to protest has suffered in the hands of the government, while the mass media also suffer repression. The majority of Nigerians receive the downside of losing the power to speak out. A lecturer from the Faculty of Law, University of Lagos, Dr. Fumi Afinowo, said it is the responsibility of government to safeguard human rights.
In December 2018, the Director General of the Budget Office in the Presidency, Ben Akabwezi, said publicly, and you will Google, that MDAs are indebted to the country to the tune of 10 trillion naira. 10 trillion. Not a dime has been paid. But let's get the appropriate agencies to do their work. The office of the Auditor General has been reduced to an NGO.
To state that a joint assessment by the federal government of Nigeria and World Bank in 2019 on the public expenditure and financial accountability assessment indicates that there are overall remarkable improvements, particularly in the areas of comprehensiveness, transparency, tax administration, internal controls, and budget credibility.
Records of government activities are made open unless it involves security of the country. Accountability plays a key role in improving performance at institutions, organizations, and at individual levels. Hence, the theme of this event, promoting transparency and accountability in ministries, departments, and agencies in Nigeria, is a quest to promote good governance.
The audit law itself is, while it's not a perfect law, has not really been adhered to by the MDAs, and even constitutional provisions on auditing has not really been adhered to. So while we can say that there is a gap in the laws, but it is more of the political will to obey the laws, the legislation we have.
Due to the scarcity of land in Lagos, the state government has embarked on a vertical construction of buildings for housing purposes, which will ultimately assist in meeting its target of increase in number of houses for the ever-increasing population in Lagos State. The State Commissioner for Housing, Maruf Akindero Fatai, stated this in Ikeja while speaking during an interactive session with journalists on the construction sector, pointing the effort of the state towards this direction would yield the desired result. He said the state government has called on the federal government for support towards increasing housing needs in Lagos. The commissioner pointed out that there are about 33 housing construction sites across the state, adding that the government was working hard to take Lagos to the bigger level in the housing sector. He said that it is clear that more houses were needed in the state, but the budget allocation cannot meet the target, as building of houses in Lagos is naturally expensive, prompting the need for the federal government to assist.
The size of Lagos is so small, and that's the reason why we have to go vertical. Building vertically is expensive. So what is the essence of building vertically now when you don't have the technology in place that will make the housing to come, the price will be at the range that we projected is easy. Look at average income and look at the cost that it will come. We are looking at the challenges. We are also looking at the solutions. And then the solution, that's why I mentioned that we we are trying to see how we can build.
The Lagos State government says it will continue to provide an enabling environment for cooperative societies to thrive in the state in order to enable societies able to contribute to economic development both in the state and at the federal level. Similarly, cooperative societies need to always comply with democratic principles in choosing their leaders, as failure of which may lead to preventable crisis. The permanent secretary in the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Cooperatives, Adetutu Oshosoya, stated this at the 22nd retreat of the Etiosa Multipurpose Cooperator Union with the theme maximizing the corporate business model in Lagos. She said the state government is being proactive by revising the state cooperative mediation panel to settle disputes and crises within and between cooperative societies. Oshosoya also tasked cooperative societies to take advantage of the micro, small and medium enterprises, just as the president of the state, Corporation Federation, LASCOFED, Oladipo Shobole, and the president of Etiosa MCU, Aderoku Akipelu, made a case for cooperative societies to imbibe modern trend towards global standard.
It is imperative to note that several business opportunities abound in Lagos State that registered cooperative societies could leverage on for economic growth. The ministry has been providing support to the micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, operating in the state and willing to support cooperatives that venture into production businesses as well.
It's only in a situation or an environment where we have peace. We have peace within the society, we have peace within the management, we have peace between the management and the members of the society. That is only when the society can progress. So I urge, advise and admonish our cooperative societies to allow peace to reign within their society so that the society can make progress. The leadership of the society can also better provide the needs of the members.
Considering the theme for this year that have been set aside by the Lagos State Cooperative Federation, that is maximizing cooperative business model. We engage in small-scale businesses like the agricultural produce, most of the manufacturing industry. You find out the cooperative are part of this process, thereby contributing a major role, a major economic role to in Lagos State and Nigeria as a whole.
We are saying that cooperative has gone beyond the initial one of only the farmers or the poor. No, in cooperative now, we have seen it that it is a model of a business that is even worth of using for the development of the country. Because in cooperative, we are not just ordinary owners. We own our business, we patronize our business, and we add value to the whole.
We'll now take a break. When we come back, we'll bring you stories from the foreign scene.
A world of free entertainment awaits you. Anywhere, anytime, at the click of a button. A world where everyone is included. A world without subscriptions. A world where entertainment lives in your pocket, on your couch, and even in multiple places at once. This is a world of premium free. Why pay? Just watch.
Welcome back. Clashes between militias backed by Libya's rival government has killed at least 23 people and injured dozens more, according to the country's health ministry. The fighting in Tripoli's capital, Libya's capital, Tripoli, was the worst there in 2 years and has raised fears the country could plunge back into a full-blown war. The United Nations, however, has called for the immediate stop to hostilities in Libya following a clash of a day of deadly clashes between the political factions in the capital Tripoli. Libya has been in chaos since the NATO-backed uprising in 2011 that ousted long-serving ruler Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. Pakistan is appealing for further international assistance as flood devastated the country, leaving people searching for higher and drier ground. The National Disaster Management Authority said the death toll from the monsoon rains have reached 1,033, with just about 119 killed in just 24 hours. The US, the UK and the UAE others have contributed to a disaster appeal, but more funds are needed. Now, Pakistan's government is doing everything it can to help. Meanwhile, the Interior Ministry official Salman Sufi said the country was desperate for international support. Iran says its review of the United States' response to a European Union drafted text to restore the 2015 nuclear deal will take several more days as Qatar continues to mediate between the two sides. An outlet affiliated with the Supreme National Council of Iran, Noor News, said in a tweet on Sunday that reviewing the U.S. response at expert levels is ongoing and will take at least until the end of the week. Working week in Iran ends on Friday, so a response appears unlikely before the 2nd of September. Iran had sent its response to the European text earlier this month, and Washington submitted its own feedback to the text on Wednesday, more than a week after the Iranian response. Coming up next on the news, the sports stories. We'll bring you that after this quick. Welcome back. Now talking sports stories. Hurricane missed the penalty but scored twice to surpass 200 league goals in his career and gave Tottenham Hotspur a 2-0 victory at Nottingham Forest. They keep up the strong start to the Premier League. Forest, who signed 17 players for about £150 million since promotion, made the early running before Spurs' prolific striker silenced the crowd with a low 5th-minute strike from inside the penalty area. Kenan systematically, uncharacteristically missed the penalty before making amends with a close-range header in the 81st minute. That was his 201st club goal, 187 in the Premier League, 9 in the Championship and 5 in League One. Spurs' third victory in the 5 games played, 1 draw, left them third in the Premier League on 10 points, 2 points in North London rivals Arsenal, who have had a flawless start. And elsewhere, Wolves defender Willy Boye scored a dramatic late equalizer as Newcastle were denied a precious victory in the battle against relegation from the Premier League. Rafael Benitez's side had appeared on course to move 3 points clear of the relegation zone, courtesy Isaac Hayden's early strike at Molinax. But after games drifted beyond the minimum 4 minutes allocated for added time, Bole climbed above Newcastle goalkeeper Martin Dubravka to head in Adam Traore's lofted cross. Newcastle's players and manager furiously appealed for a foul, with the former Proto defender appearing to have both hands on Dubravka. However, referee Graham Scott waved away their protests. And talking tennis, the 2022 edition of the last Grand Slam of the year, the U.S. Open kicks off on Monday August 29 will run through Sunday, September 11 at the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center in Flushing Meadows, Corona Park in Queens. It will provide an avenue for the best tennis stars and the upcoming players to show their skill in both the men and the women single, as well as the double and mixed double, while the competition may provide an avenue to clinch the number position in ATP and WTA. The Williams sisters, who are the most successful sister acts in tennis history, is set to team up once more in doubles competition. Meanwhile, Rafael Nadal targets a 5th US Open and 23rd Grand Slam title, with his path to the title no longer blocked by Novak Djokovic, whose refusal to get vaccinated has ruled him out of second major this year. As we close tonight in the news, we brought you Obasanjo dismisses the idea he may have an anointed presidential candidate. And ASU-NEC is to meet tonight over the face-off with the federal government. And flood kills over 1,000 people in Pakistan. In talking sports stories, Tottenham record 3rd win in English Premier League with victory over Nottingham Forest. And thanks for joining us in our primetime news tonight. We'll bring you more stories in our bulletins tomorrow. I am Tomi Singh at Debokola. Do have a pleasant night rest. Good night.